Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Mini Books Podcast with your host Gloria and Rogan, and today we are excited to dive into Special Book with You. We picked this one because it has really important lessons to share and we can't wait to talk about them. So let's get started. Hey everyone and welcome back. We're diving into something really exciting today. Building a solid second income online without ditching the day job just yet.
Always a popular topic.
Definitely. And we're diving deep into the Six-Figure Second Income by David Lindhall and Jonathan Rozek.
Great choice.
This book, I gotta say, it doesn't mess around. It gets right to the point, tackles those common misconceptions we've probably all come across like right away.
Yeah, I like how they call those misconceptions real dangers. Makes them feel very, real.
No sugarcoating there, which is refreshing, that whole easy money thing.
Oh, tell me about it.
We've all seen those ads. This book, it just throws that out the window. It's like, nope, we're building a real business here. Sustainable, yeah. That's the key takeaway for me. It's about sustainability. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme.
Totally. And it challenges that hard-earned money myth, too. Like, it's not about grinding away at a second job till you burn out.
Yeah, it's more strategic. It's about putting in the work to create something that generates income even when you're not chained to your laptop.
Right. Building an asset, that whole passive income idea everyone dreams about. But how do we even get started? Everyone wants that $1 million product idea. Does the book reveal all?
Well, I wouldn't say there's a magic formula in there. But what I found fascinating is the book's approach, it's very practical. They encourage you to really think about your own experiences. What are those everyday problems you could solve? Interesting. So instead of waiting for that stroke of genius, like, aha, this is it, it's more about those there has to be a better way moment.
Exactly. They actually talk about this student. He found success selling his photography online.
Yeah.
Like just his photography. Nothing fancy.
Really?
Yeah, just turned a hobby into a business because he saw a need, figured out how to fill it. Taking action. Turning your expertise, however big or small, into something valuable.
I love that story. Proof you don't need to be a seasoned expert to create a successful product. What other examples do they give?
Let's see. There's one about a tie-dye enthusiast who creates a how-to DVD.
No way.
Yeah, and someone compiling like folk remedies for kidney stones into an ebook. It sounds niche, but that's the point, right?
Yeah.
You can turn almost anything into a product if you know how to package it, market it.
Okay, so we've got our brilliant idea. We're feeling good. But how do we get it out there? In front of the right people. This is where things can feel a little overwhelming. Does the book offer any guidance?
Oh, absolutely. They break it down into really manageable steps. They demystify the whole tech side, which can be intimidating.
For sure. So let's start with the basics. Website creation. Where do we even begin?
It starts with your website. They call it your online storefront. And the first step, they say, is choosing that perfect domain name.
Right, that digital address. But what makes a good one? Are there rules or is it more of a gut feeling?
It's actually both. They give you some clear guidelines in the book. Keep it short, they say. Memorable, easy to spell.
Makes sense.
Oh, and obviously relevant to your niche.
Yeah.
You want something that sticks in people's minds and reflects your brand.
You don't want people struggling to remember or ending up on a completely different site because they got one letter wrong. Okay, domain name, check. Now hosting. I'll be honest, that one's always been a bit of a mystery to me.
Think of it like renting space online for your site. Web hosting is what makes your website accessible to visitors 24/7.
Okay.
They stress choosing a reliable hosting provider, and for good reason.
Yeah, you don't want your site crashing all the time.
Exactly. Nobody wants to wait around for a slow website, especially these days.
So true. A slow website equals lost customers. Reliable hosting, got it. Now, about actually building the website, do we need to become coding wizards overnight?
Not at all. The book talks about all sorts of options, from custom programming, which is obviously more involved, to those template-based solutions, like WordPress.
Right, I've heard of that.
Much more user-friendly. It all depends on your budget and how comfortable you are with the techie stuff.
That's a relief. I was picturing myself drowning in lines of code.
It's not that scary, I promise. There are tools out there that make it way easier than it used to be.
Okay, so we've got our domain, our hosting, our website's up and running. Now, how do we get people to actually visit this online storefront of ours?
That's where lead generation comes in.
Okay, lead generation. What's that all about?
It's about attracting the right people to your website, the ones who are actually interested in what you're offering. Not just any traffic, but quality traffic.
That makes sense. But how do we do that?
The book, again, cuts through the noise with a practical approach. The key, they say, is to deliver value up front.
So no tricking people into visiting your site. It's about actually giving them something useful.
Exactly. It could be blog posts, videos, free ebooks, anything that provides value and resonates with your target audience.
So think about the problems your product solves, and then create content around those problems.
You got it. Establish yourself as an authority. Give people a taste of what you offer.
Okay, that makes sense. So someone stumbles upon your amazing blog post or helpful video. Now what? How do you get them to actually check out your product?
That's where landing pages come into play. Dedicated pages designed to convert those visitors into leads.
Landing pages, got it.
They emphasize aligning your landing page with the content that brought the visitor there.
Can you give me an example of what that looks like?
Sure. Let's say you have a blog post about, I don't know, training a Schnauzer puppy. Instead of sending them to your generic homepage, direct them to a landing page specifically about Schnauzer training. It's a more seamless experience, more likely to get them interested in your Schnauzer training ebook or course,
Makes sense. Keep the focus laser sharp on what they're already interested in. So what if we want to reach an even wider audience, people who haven't found us organically yet? Does the book talk about paid advertising?
They do touch on it, specifically Google AdWords, but they caution against going too broad.
Really? Why is that? I would think reaching more people is always better.
Not necessarily. It's not just about getting clicks. It's about getting the right clicks.
If I use a broad term like, say, dog training, it's not as effective.
Right. You'll likely end up with a lot of people who aren't interested in what you specifically offer.
So it's about being more strategic, targeting your ideal customer.
Exactly. It's about quality over quantity.
Sorry to interrupt you guys. If you're enjoying this podcast, then don't forget to check out our official YouTube channel, Mini Books Podcast, and subscribe for more great podcasts like this one.
Unlikely to buy.
That makes a lot of sense. So we've attracted these targeted leads. They're on our website. They're intrigued. Now, how do we turn them into paying customers?
Well, one thing the book stresses is that converting those leads is all about trust and exceeding expectations.
Okay, trust and exceeding expectations. I like it.
One of the most surprising things they recommend, offering crazy long guarantees.
Long guarantees. How long are we talking?
Like 90 days, even a year? Sounds counterintuitive, right? But they argue it actually boosts conversions. It shows confidence in your product.
I never thought of it that way. It's like saying, I'm so confident you'll love this, I'm willing to put my money where my mouth is.
It reduces that buyer's remorse, Makes people more comfortable taking a chance.
Wow. I can see how that would make a difference. It's like a vote of confidence. Are there other strategies for turning those leads into buyers?
Testimonials. But not just any testimonials. They have to be specific and authentic.
So instead of, this product is great, it's more like...
More like, this guide helped me solve this specific problem, and here's how. They even have an example in the book about the Schnauzer. Like, this guide finally helped me get rid of my Schnauzer's mats. The instructions were so easy to follow, something like that.
Right. Showing, not just telling. It's like a little success story, starring your future selves. What about email? Is that something they talk about?
Oh yeah, email is huge. They talk about using email to nurture those leads, stay top of mind, provide helpful content, answer questions, remind people of the value you offer. It's all about building relationships.
So it's not just bombarding them with sales pitches?
No. It's about adding value at every touch point, even before they buy.
Okay, so we've launched our business, we're attracting leads, building those relationships. Hopefully the sales are starting to come in. It doesn't stop there though, right?
You're right. The journey's just beginning. And the book is very clear about that. They talk about continuous improvement. It's crucial for long-term success.
It makes sense. You can't just rest on your laurels. What are some of their tips for continuous improvement?
One big one is A/B testing.
A/B testing. I've heard of that, but honestly, I'm not totally sure what it is.
Basically, you compare different versions of something, like your website or a sales page, to see which one performs better.
Oh, so it's like an experiment.
Exactly. You could test different headlines, calls to action, even the color of a button.
Wow, I didn't realize you could get that specific.
It's all about those small tweaks that can make a big difference over time.
Wow, this is a lot to digest. We've covered so much already. Busting myths, practical strategies. It's amazing how much goes into building an online business.
It's a journey for sure. And we're not even done yet.
I know. But how about we take a quick break, grab a snack, and come back for more?
Sounds good to me. We'll dive into the I factor next, and trust me, it's a good one. It really is a journey building a business. And that whole I factor we were going to get into, Well, it's not as complicated as it sounds.
Okay, good to know. So what is it?
It's all about you, the individual behind the business. The book gives you all these amazing strategies, right? But they won't do much if you don't actually use them. Knowledge is only powerful when it's applied.
Action, action, action. That's what I tell people all the time.
Exactly. This deep dive, it's about giving you the tools, the confidence to actually build something. But you have to be willing to take that first step.
Take ownership, basically.
Yes. Embrace the journey, the ups, the downs, the mistakes even.
Because there will be mistakes. No one launches a business perfectly.
Exactly. And speaking of potential stumbling blocks, remember those pitfalls we were going to talk about? The book does a great job highlighting some of those.
Oh, right. Because knowing what to watch out for can be just as helpful as knowing what to do.
For sure. And one of the biggest ones they emphasize. Distractions.
Oh, yeah. The online world is full of them. Shiny object syndrome, I think they call it.
It's so easy to get sidetracked, especially when there are always new tools, new strategies, new opportunities popping up. You need a plan, and you have to stick to it.
Prioritize, prioritize, prioritize. What other pitfalls do they talk about?
Adaptability. Things change so quickly online, what worked yesterday might not work tomorrow.
That's a good point. It's exciting, but it can be a lot to keep up with.
Definitely. But it's about having a growth mindset, viewing those changes as opportunities to learn, to improve.
So don't be rigid, be flexible, adapt.
Exactly. Be curious, try new things, don't be afraid to pivot if something's not working.
Embrace the ever-changing online landscape. It's part of the adventure.
That's a great way to look at it. And remember, you don't have to do it all alone.
Oh, that's so important.
The book talks about finding your tribe, connecting with other entrepreneurs, people who get it.
Because it can feel lonely sometimes, right?
Yeah.
Especially if the people around you aren't really into the whole online business thing.
Exactly. Finding your community can make a huge difference. Support, accountability, it's invaluable.
And inspiration. It's always encouraging to connect with others who are on a similar path.
Absolutely. So we've talked about the strategies, the pitfalls, the mindset. But at the end of the day, it all boils down to taking action.
What's the one thing you want listeners to do after this deep dive? Besides, buy the book, of course.
If they haven't already, grab that book. It's gold. But beyond that, I'd say take one concrete action towards building their business today.
Today. Love it. Like what? Give us some examples.
Brainstorm product ideas. That's a great starting point. Research their target audience. Or maybe even start setting up their website. Even those small steps can make a difference.
It's about momentum, right?
Exactly. Once you start taking action, it's amazing how things start to fall into place.
Switching from dreaming to doing. Okay, now that we've got everyone fired up and ready to take action, let's talk about those info product formats again. I love how this book goes beyond the typical ebook or course. It really is amazing how many different ways there are to share your knowledge these days. You don't have to be an author to have an info product, do you?
Not at all. And this book, they really drive that point home. Your info product, it can be so much more than just a long ebook.
Which, let's be honest, not everyone's excited to write a whole book.
Exactly. It could be something as simple as a checklist, or a template, a short video series even.
Okay, so those are definitely less intimidating than a whole book.
Right. Or think physical products.
Yeah.
Like a workbook, a set of reference cards even. The possibilities are pretty endless when you start thinking outside the box.
I love that. So it's about meeting your audience where they are with a format that makes sense for them.
Exactly. And the beauty of this is it lets you play to your strengths. Maybe writing's not your thing, but you're amazing at creating engaging videos. Go for it. Or maybe you're a design whiz. You can create a workbook that's not only informative, but beautiful to look at.
It's about being creative, finding that format that feels right for you and what you're trying to teach. Okay, so we've got our listeners thinking about their expertise, the problems they can solve, all these different formats. What's that next step? What can they do right now to get this ball rolling?
Start brainstorming. Grab a notebook, open a doc on your computer, whatever works for you. Just start jotting down ideas.
Get those creative juices flowing.
Exactly. What are you passionate about? What do you know that you could teach someone else? And don't overthink it at this stage. Just let the ideas flow.
No idea is a bad idea at this point.
Exactly. And look for inspiration, too. Check out other people in your niche, see what they're doing, what formats are they using, what problems are they solving. You can learn a lot from observing what's working for others.
It's like market research, but way more fun. Okay, so we've covered a ton of ground today. It's been amazing. We've talked about those common online business myths, those practical strategies for everything from creating a product to building a website, attracting those dream customers, even those potential pitfalls to watch out for. But if there's one thing I want our listeners to walk away with today, it's that I factor.
Absolutely. It all comes back to you taking action.
Believing in yourself, your vision,
Yeah.
and never giving up even when things get tough. So to everyone listening, remember, you have the power to build that life you want. It starts with one small step, one decision. So what will yours be?
What will it be? That's the question. This was just the spark. Now go out there and light your world on fire.
I love it. And remember, we're here to cheer you on every step of the way. Until next time, happy diving. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this conversation and want to dive into more book insights and key learnings, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, Mini Books Podcast, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode. We're back every Sunday at 9 a.m. with new books and more to learn from. Until next time, take care, keep learning, and keep growing. Remember, this is Mini Books Podcast.